Hello, this is Brandon with RPG Overviews, and I'm going to be taking a look at Dark Places and Demogorgons for Old School Essentials. So when you combine the look and the rules of Old School Essentials with the original game called Survive This, Dark Places and Demogorgons by Eric Bloat, it was surely created just like this. Dark Places and Demogorgons is an OSR horror role-playing game set in the 1980s, where you play as teenagers from a small town where strange occurrences begin popping up all around. Thanks in part to the success of Netflix's Stranger Things, Dark Places and Demogorgons obviously takes inspiration from the hit show, but also leans heavily on the cult movies and TV shows of the 1980s. If it involves kids, teens, horror, the supernatural, science fiction, or simply adventure, Dark Places and Demogorgons seeks to reproduce exciting moments from not only these great movies and TV shows, but also the fashion, attitude, and vibe of that iconic decade. Slashers, psychic powers, vampires, werewolves, gremlins, zombies, demons, weird science, and more can all be found within the book's 306 pages. But it doesn't stop there. With the 21 character classes that cover all sort of movie and TV tropes of the 1980s, you could be a final girl, a kid that knows karate, a goonie in search of pirate gold, a savant of horror movies, a freedom fighter against foreign invaders, a most excellent dude looking for that perfect wave,
gnarly!
Or a scion unleashing your mental powers to stop the forces of darkness. With the inclusion of one of the most detailed, somewhat modern town settings I've ever seen, Dark Places and Demogorgons is full to the brim with 80s feel, fashion, and fear. Join me, won't you, as we travel back to the 1980s and delve deep into the dark places of the seemingly accursed town of Jeffersontown, Kentucky, in Eric Bloat's Dark Places and Demogorgons. So let's take a look at the book. It looks like Old School Essentials. That's the first thing, obviously, that you'll note. The cover art is by Runehammer, which I think is awesome. I love the colors, and I love the depiction of the Demogorgon. The black ribbon bookmark is a nice touch, and the book feels chunky and high quality. So we got that all going for it. So far, so good. Now let's take a look inside. So there's our first piece of art. It's got nice art throughout all of it. There are some reused pieces of art here and there, which might disappoint some people, but I actually would have liked to have seen more art of what the town looks like. Cinematic artwork of a suburban road or the outside of a school, teens walking by the actual locations would have been nice. And as you can see here, the monster art is great, as is the character class art, as this depicts the party animal down there. So it is not a standalone game. You need Old School Essentials, and there's a section here if you're coming from the Survive This version of the game. And it's got this section here, role-playing game set in the 80s, fashion, MTV, and everything else that incorporates the 1980s. Neat table here, 1980s versus today. It's very neat. It gives you a lot of things that were in the 80s throughout the book, from Trapper Keepers to Blockbuster, corded phones to mixtapes. If you want to know how much a He-Man action figure was, it's got that price. If you need the price of a big wheel, it's in there too. Obviously, the book is not trying to be a photo book of the 80s things, so there's not going to be art of those items. But its mini list of 80s things is helpful in invoking the right feel of the genre. So it gives you the character classes to make the exact team characters we've all seen in 80s movies and even modern movies. It has fun, exciting classes, and reaches deep into those characters to give you choices that you may not have even considered. I'm not even sure I would have thought of a breakdancing class. Or later on here, there is a temper tantrum throwing princess class, which is actually really cool. The most excellent dude class is brilliant, I think. And busting with role-playing opportunities, as everybody's going to try to be Jeff Spicoli. Some cool art there, and here's that most excellent dude, or dudette, of course. There's the nerd and the party animal if you want to recreate Revenge of the Nerds. There's the performer, the preppy, the princess, the snoop, who's going to help you get those clues. And here we come to our optional classes. All the classics are there, and then some, but you do get these two optional classes, the Mystic and the Scion. So the Mystic has song-titled spellcasting, which I think is awesome. Beat It, Cherry Bomb, Footloose, all these spells are from names of songs, which I think is very clever. And yeah, you're going to do some smiling as you look through these and see, oh, Eye of the Tiger, Thriller, I'm going to cast Rock You Like a Hurricane. Very neat. And then the Scion. Obviously, if you want to recreate 11 from Stranger Things, there are a ton of mystic abilities to choose from when bringing that character to life. And those two supernatural characters help you take your game in a different direction. They're sure to have your players fighting over who's going to be the one to play them. The section for psychic abilities is very big, and there's many of them, with four different tiers: Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and then a prime power, which is very powerful. So they give you a whole big selection of psychic abilities. Rolling up or choosing backgrounds help bring those characters to life, providing excellent role-playing opportunities from a kid who might believe they are part alien to the popular kid whose family has a pool. I think backgrounds are great. There's also a nice selection of weapons and armors, and the armors are smartly not good at stopping bullets. I like that a lot, unless you get ballistic gear. Pretty much most of the items a kid would want is listed along with the prices, and that's very helpful at placing those items around these kids in the 1980s, such as right here. It's got some crossover magic items from OSC, along with some magic items straight out of movies, like right here, or music videos like Corey Hart's glasses he wears at night, a sexy leg lamp, a fortune-telling wizard machine, even a mechanical owl, which I absolutely love. It's a very fun section that's sure to elicit lots of big smiles. So, let's continue on. It actually has lightsabers too. Here's a miscellaneous 80s items things. It's going to have a whole bunch of stuff there, from Hungry Hungry Hippos to Tinker Toys and Tonka trucks, treasure hoards, and group treasure. So, here's the section. This game is overflowing with ideas, background, story hooks, townsfolk, locations, mystery, monsters, and the all-important factor, imagination. But what is the game's strongest strengths? It's the setting, Jeffersontown, and the adventure hooks. So Jeffersontown is broken up into sections of detailed maps, as you can see right here, as well as a timeline, which is very good. I help recreating that backstory of the town. As you can see, it's got these broken up sections of maps, and with descriptions of stores, apartments, factories, caves, arcades, movie rental stores, businesses, and many other places which help bring this seemingly accursed town to life. But there's also normal everyday things a group of 80s kids might get entangled in. Bullies, law enforcement, a new kid in town, or stolen lunch money are a few examples, and I believe a very smart inclusion to solidify the setting. The amount of paranormal and supernatural hooks are so many, I think running a game with all of them activated and running amok makes me think of this as the only solution.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
So pick a few is my suggestion, and bring them to life in your game gradually, creating that build-up of fear and mystery. There's a complete section on the town, on the high school, on the teachers, and many other NPCs that inhabit Jeffersontown. There's also a section here on the other side, which is its version of the Upside Down. It's not a very big section, but it's something that's nice to have been included. There are other locations, such as Ethel's Antique Shop, which is in essence a magical item vendor, if you wish, and she just happens to be a witch. So in this section here, as we start getting into the townspeople and the adventure hooks, such as right here, like I said, I would tell you to pick just a few and bring them to life in your game. There are plenty to choose from, with many reproducing popular villains such as Freddy Krueger, Gremlins, Terminator, Christine, Demonic Toys, E.T., or maybe even The Fly, but a spider version of The Fly. And they all have got their own Jeffersontown spin to them. Here is Jeffersontown's version of Freddy Krueger, with dream powers and powers that your character get when they go into the dream world. Very cool. There's a new girl. There's even the Phantom Fairlane, which lets you reproduce Christine. Very nice. The Pope Lick monster is going to be a big one involved in Jeffersontown. So, as we continue on, we're going to hit this nice section of monsters, as you will see right here. Angels and demons, Devourer of Memories, which are pretty much mind flayers, dire animals, and human adversaries and allies. These are going to be very helpful for you. And then it's going to round itself off with some optional rules about experience, an optional rule to use a skill system, and then it's going to have a very good index. So, does it have any issues? Sure. You could use another proofreading pass, is really my only gripe. But it doesn't hold the book back from its focus, of course. Hopefully we'll get another look to fix some of those typos. It's available in PDF on DriveThruRPG and also in print on Bloat Games' website that you'll see here. And of course I'll have links in the description. So in conclusion, Dark Places and Demogorgons spurred a lot of adventure ideas in my head I hope to run with my kids. A time period I lived through, of course, and know and hope to share my love of 80s movies with my family and friends. Recreating the horror, sci-fi, and adventure movies that helped make that decade so awesome with Dark Places and Demogorgons. So, as always, I'll be looking at some other products in this series, and I hope you will subscribe, like, and share this video. And thank you, of course, for your support and comments. Till next time.